Hello, job seekers. This is Miss J from the Hope Program, and I hope that all is well with you. So, our topic today is creating an elevator pitch. So, what is an elevator pitch? You would ask. And does it have to take place in an elevator? And I will be answering these questions in this video. So, if you are standing in the elevator or an elevator with the president or CEO of the hiring manager of a company, what would you say? And whatever it is that you have to say, it is for a very limited amount of time. So you actually have 1 minute. When the doors close, a button is pressed, the elevator is starting to move. That's when you start. When those doors open, that's when you stop. 1 minute or less. And well, that's about it. That is the idea about an elevator pitch. What would you say in a very limited amount of time should you come across someone that may have some power, some authority, some connections, and would be able to assist you in your job search? So now, what do we mean by a pitch? Well, it is a dialogue. In a pitch, like in baseball, there is someone who is throwing a ball and someone is catching it. And then that person will throw that ball and then somebody will catch it. And that is a dialogue. It is a conversation that is happening with two people about a given subject matter. So in this dialogue, you're going to be starting a conversation, and we want you to be professional at all times. Professional is also about how you look and how you start a conversation, the things that you're saying out of your mouth that you are conveying to the person as well. So we want you to be professional, be respectful of the person's time, be respectful of where it is that you are and what your objective is, which is to get a job. So it's about being prepared. And it's about practicing. You have to practice your elevator pitch, just like you have to practice any other interview question. Be prepared. So you're going to do research on the company, know about the position and how your skills fit it. That is part of your research. Know what it is that you are talking about. State what the title is and maybe mention a couple of qualifications or requirements for that position. Okay, mention that you know what you know, which is what we're talking about here. So you're going to come with some information, some facts, some education, some knowledge, and you're going to talk about what your experience is. Now, you should be asking me a question. How do you recognize the staff? Very good question. It is part of your research of the company. Look on the site for what the staff looks like. Look at the pictures of the staff interacting if it provides that to you, if they have day outings, if they have conferences, if they travel together. Look at those pictures. That will give you an idea about who these people are. And the other thing that I do, and I want to give you a hint about this, what I do is I print out the page that allows me to have access to their faces, their titles, and their names, and I print it and I have it in my portfolio so that in the event that I do walk into a building and I'm ready to sign in and I'm in the line and I see someone who I believe is familiar, I pull at that document, I look and I go, wow, here is John Prowse. John Prowse is the HR director. And I happen to get on that elevator. Hello, Mr. Prowse. Good morning. How are you, sir? Love that tie that you have on. That's how you know. Get familiar with the people if you have access to the information. That's golden. Now, so you're going to be starting a conversation. So how you start a conversation, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. You saying hi and hello, we consider that personal, like personal friends. You said it to friends and family, but there is business language. And in business language, we say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. So you're going to state your name and you're going to say it slowly. Look, you've had your name your whole entire life, okay? And you had to learn your name as well. You were trained on what was your name and how to say your name, right? So that means that whoever you are having a conversation with, say your name slowly so they can hear it and so they can catch it, especially if it's one with a lot of letters and a lot of syllables and it may be difficult to catch the first time, right? So say it slowly. And so part of your dialogue is that you're talking about the position that you're seeking. Tell them what the title of it is and maybe even the department in which you'll be working in as well. And where did you find the posting? You may want to cite on whatever resource that is. And oh yeah, and then I forgot something. If the person gives you their name, say their name back to them to make sure that you got it and that you locked it, and even write it down on a piece of paper really quickly, because you want to be able to remember who it was that you had this conversation with. And then also in our protocol on how we communicate with one another, you want to say their names a couple of times. So included in the dialogue, you want to talk about your strong skills, the ones that fit the job and the ones that you are really good at. Okay, that you do really well. Provide maybe 3 skills that you can do. Now, maybe some language that you may want to use that will help you to prove that you have some skills is to give an opinion or a comment that was given to you on a previous job by your previous boss, or maybe by a customer who was just so satisfied with the interaction and with your follow through that they had with you. Okay. And maybe they sent in a recommendation and maybe you were especially acknowledged or something for whatever that interaction was. And so this may be a little snippet of a story that you'd want to tell to demonstrate your strong skills. Certifications, licenses, training degrees that you have that will give you additional layers and make it clear that you are knowledgeable in your field. Definitely mention them. Now, also including in the dialogue is, why do you want to do what you do? Why do you want to do that? Like, what is your passion? So how does that come across? Well, I can give you an example. Maybe you want to talk about when I was a little child, I learned how to do ABC. Or maybe you want to say when I was 10 years old, my father and I, we started working on the weekends on motors and on engines. And I found out that I had a love for it and that's all that I want to do. And my specialty is blah, 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 blah. May you want to tell them a story, a little short, little snippet story, not a life story, but just a little snippet of why it is that you love what you love, you know, and that you love it so much that you would be happy to demonstrate, get a tryout, an internship. I'm just saying. So let's recap. I'm going to give you some more information. So in your conversation that you're having with the person in the elevator or with the person that you're networking with, there is a beginning, a middle, and an end to your conversation. So the beginning is your salutation. That was your good morning, your good afternoon, your good evening, and stating what your name is clearly and concisely so that they can catch it. So the middle would be you talking about the job. You're talking about what the title is, about what the position is, maybe where you found it. You're telling them about what your strong skills are, what certifications and licenses you have. This is your middle. And included in that middle is your passion. Your abilities and your passion should meld together. They should be together. That gives it the strength and gives it the body. Okay, it would be like the motor between 2 bricks. That motor has to be really strong and really sticky to bring those two together. So what you know how to do and what your passion should come together. Closing the deal. Now, if you did a really good job, here are some clues. Number one, when you were talking to the person, that they gave you their attention, that they looked you in your face, that they nodded a couple of times, maybe did a couple of Okay, they gave you body clues that they were paying attention and interested in what you were saying. If you're not getting these clues, then just thank the person for the time, and thank them for listening to you. Cut it shorter and have a nice day. Okay. So you want to see if you can get that business card, because that business card is your key that unlocks the door to that person. Maybe their email address, that you can contact them and send them an email about how nice it was to meet them, and give them a little blurb that you met them in the elevator and the position that you're looking for, and that you are hoping that they will respond to you and maybe assist you a step further in introducing you to someone, or maybe giving you someone's information, or maybe even meeting with them at a later date. So closing the deal is if they take that resume. Okay. If they go, let me have your resume, or let me see your resume, then we consider that closing the deal, because you want the conversation to go beyond the moment that you're having it, whether it be in an elevator or in some other arena. You want there to be some kind of an exchange, either that they give you their information, or you give them the information, hoping that you will get connected. So here's some things that I think we should be mentioning. Body language. Making eye contact is the most important skill or tool that I can bring to your attention and tell you about it. In the United States in particular, if you do not look someone in their face, we think that you are not telling the truth. We think that you're up to something, that you are a manipulator, and all other kind of words that that I won't be saying here. So making eye contact is very, very important, because it adds to the level of sincerity that we believe that you have when you're looking at us. Now, are there some people who can look you in your face and tell an untruth? Absolutely. We know some masters. I'm hoping that's not you. Okay. But making eye contact is important. And making eye contact here in the United States means respect, because it means the opposite in other places. Okay. So let's talk about, we're continuing our conversation regarding body language. So because of the pandemic, post the pandemic, because of COVID-19 that we have all experienced, I believe that it will change how the protocols on how we do business. Shaking a person's hand was a protocol, a practice, a custom when we did business. Introducing oneself, you would put your hand out, and then when you're saying goodbye to the person and closing the conversation, we would shake their hands. Well, that's probably no longer the case, or it probably will be maybe some variations to that. So my suggestion to you is that allow the other person to put their hand out. But I would also like to state that if you are uncomfortable with shaking someone's hand, you can just like shake your head and go, yes, nice to meet you. Please don't pause. Please don't let that like hang in the air, because it can be a little uncomfortable. Okay. So, just be careful. And look, and if you shake someone's hand, please don't immediately take out some sanitizer and be spraying it all over the place because you shook somebody's hand, because that would be considered disrespectful. Okay. Let's maintain some body control. Now, in the elevator, it's a tricky space because it is a small space. And then there also may be other people that's in there that, again, is taking up space. If at all possible, please put some respectful distance away from the person. Please don't be standing all up in their face and breathing on them. Okay, so keep some space, be respectful. They don't know you, and you're introducing yourself. And look, they are a captive audience because you're in this locked box, and that box does not open up. The doors does not open back up until it gets to the next floor. And then that's when freedom is experienced again, because you can get out. So as long as the doors are closed, they are a captive audience. So please be mindful of that. You don't want anybody to be nervous or afraid or uncomfortable. So pay attention to the cues and the clues that they're giving you as well. So your question may be, so Ms. J, When are we going to use this elevator pitch that you're talking about? Well, more than you may know, or you may know already, because I know a lot of you are very smart. So, when there is a limited amount of time that you have to introduce yourself, that would be an elevator pitch. Um, where does this happen the most, where we're all familiar with it, is at a job fair. At a job fair, there's a lot of people, there's a lot of noise, there's a lot of stuff going on, there's a lot of movement. And so you have to kind of like get in close with the other person that you are talking to. And this cannot be a very long conversation because the attention span is about a minute or two. So you want to be able to give them a short little blurb, a short little commercial about who it is, who you are, what it is that you do, and what you are interested in, and what are your strengths. So you can also use an elevator pitch as your opening statement for an interview. Now, in the totality of answering the question, tell me something about yourself. If you answer that question, it should take you about 3 or 4 minutes if you answer it with giving them enough information about you. So this elevator pitch is the baby of the tell me something about yourself. It's a little blurb. So tell me about yourself would be like an infomercial level of time, and the elevator pitch would be your 30 seconds, 60 seconds, little short capped commercial. And there may be a networking event that you may go to. So that is where you would use this skill. Conferences. So in the elevator pitch, it is timed, it is 1 minute. You are not telling your life story. You're just giving them a highlight, bits and pieces. What makes you special. It is a hit it and a quit it, okay? So what's your elevator pitch? And are you ready to bring it? And then the other thing is that I know that you're going to want to do, because you know that you have a minute, is to talk really, really fast. Don't talk really fast. You don't have to stuff the elevator pitch with a whole lot of information. You just want to make like little bullet points, okay? Something to get them, interested in who you are. For me, I love dessert. Right? And I get excited when I see dessert. I didn't have it. I didn't taste it. I didn't eat it. Okay. But I'm excited the moment that I see it. Well, that's kind of like what you want to do for an elevator pitch. You want to give them enough that would make them want to continue to have a conversation with you. So here is a true story that actually happened on New York City subway train not too long ago. So I will tell you this story. Trying to close my screen here. Okay, so I was on a train on my way to work doing rush hour. Okay, and I don't know if you know it or not, but it takes approximately a minute from station to station, from the train to move from station to station. From the moment that it closes the doors in one station, goes through the tunnel, and then opens up the doors at the next stop. It takes about a minute to do that. Now, there are other train stations where it takes longer than that. I'm not talking about those. I'm talking about the regular ones. It takes a minute. Okay, I'm talking about that local level minute. I'm not talking about the express train. Okay, so there was this young man who was coming through the train doors. And by the way, you know that is illegal to walk through the train doors, right? Okay, I'm just making clear. So he walked through the train door. And just when the train was pulling out of that station, he comes into the middle of the train. And you know how we are as New Yorkers. We have our headsets in, we're reading a book, reading a newspaper with our eyes closed. Don't bother me. Okay, I'm over here in the corner. Please don't touch me kind of situation. We're looking at our phones. We're playing games. Maybe we're having a little snippet conversation with a passenger that is on a train with us. So this young man comes into the floor, and then he says, "Good morning to everyone, and I hope that you are having a lovely morning. My name is ABC, and I don't mean to bother you, but I am looking for a job. I am not looking for a handout. handout. That is not why I am here. I am looking for 1, 2, 3 kind of jobs, and I have ABC skills, and this is something that I'm really good at. This is something that I want to do. I want to continue my career in this. And if you are on the train and you can hear me out, or maybe you can help me, maybe you know someone who is looking for someone like me, I would like to give you my resume so that you can pass on to that person. And if you are someone that can help me, I'm asking that you give me your business card so that I can contact you, or I can give you my resume and you can look at it. And if you're still interested after you have reviewed it, for you to give me a call. Again, I am not here asking for a handout. I'm just looking for some assistance in getting a job. And please, if you are someone that cannot help me, if you're someone who's really not interested, that's not where your heart is, please do not take my resume at all, because that gives me false hope. So thank you everybody for listening. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. When he was done, okay, there were some people that was on a train going, young man, let me have your resume. Young man, come over here and talk to me for a second, right? And then I'm riding a train and I'm observing and I'm looking at everybody, right? And I'm sitting there feeling sad because I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I could help him, because if I could, I would. Right. So then there was this young gentleman who was sitting like a little across from me in a diagonal. Right. He was dressed casually, but I could tell that he looked, professional. He was nice and clean, what have you. And he beckoned the young man to come over to him and have a seat next beside him. And the young man went and had a seat, and he asked him for his resume. Right. So I had maybe another stop to go. And then I actually saw the gentleman pass him his business card, and the gentleman was getting off the next stop along with me, and he told the young man to give him a call, and he had the resume and he will see what he can do for him, and he wished him well. Well, what I want you to know is I have not seen that young gentleman on the train again. And in my heart of hearts, and I believe that that young gentleman did get a job, which is why I have never, ever seen him again. Because, when we're on the trains and something gets our attention, how we look for that person or we look for that thing. I have not seen him, because I've been looking for him. Okay. And hoping in my heart of hearts that someone did help him. So, true story, did not make that up. I really, really mean that. So I hope that this video was helpful for you, and that it will give you some tools and some things to think about as you prepare your elevator pitch. And there is an assignment that is attached to this video. I know you already knew that. I know, I'm just reminding you, okay, so that you will get this done. And I'm always an email away if you need some assistance. So have a good day. This is Miss J. Be well.